I was in Maine, and I was just thinking about this whole thing of the gospel and saying, you know what, I just want to give my life to it. And I'm like, but I asked God, I'm like, is it possible to have enough content that I could preach this the rest of my life and never get, I don't know if outdated's the right word, or maybe not relevant, if you will. It's like, well, we've heard Jason 3 times, and therefore we know what he's going to pretty much say, and therefore there's no reason to have him. Which that's kind of my goal also, because remember, I wanted to work myself out of a job. But you know, when you're thinking that this is what I want to do with the rest of my life, those are questions that begin to come in my mind. So I said, God, is it possible that I could build a ministry, if you will, based on the gospel? Or do I have to add other things in it? And there's a few things that the Lord began to show me. And one of them was this. I had a dream. And in this dream, I began to write. And I was writing, and I was writing, and I was writing. People were asking, hey, Jason, do this. Hey, do you want to do that? No, I've got to write. And so I'm just writing, and I'm writing, and I'm writing, and I'm writing. And I in the dream, it probably lasted 3 seconds, but it really felt like it was a long, long time. And I'm just writing and writing and writing. And finally, I finished, and I closed the book. That's what it sounded. Boom. And I closed it, and it was like this thick. It was this wide. And it was about that big. I mean, it's a huge book that I wrote. And as soon as I closed it, I heard that is the book just on circumcision, or one element of the gospel, just on this element of the gospel. Which means there's so much more in just the discussion of the gospel than what I wrote in this massive, massive book. And I thought, wow, okay, there's enough content. Here's the next thing. You get to Hebrews chapter 13. And it says toward the end of that chapter, right around 22, 23, 24, somewhere in that area, it says, for I've written to you in few words. Now, I don't know if you realize this, but Hebrews is 13 chapters long. It's not the longest book in the New Testament, but it's definitely not the shortest either. So I personally would not consider 13 chapters to be few words. But it says, I've written to you in few words. What does that mean? That means there is so much more content than 13 chapters, that if you only said those 13 chapters, then that's considered few words.
That's funny.
There is so much more to this thing. It is so big. It is so grand. It is so massive. Like, that makes me think of Romans chapter 5, verse 2 in the Message translation. I wonder if I have that on here. Romans 5:2 in the Message translation. And that's not all. We throw open our doors to God and discover at the same moment that He has already thrown open His door to us. We find ourselves standing where we always hoped we might stand, out in the wide open spaces of God's grace and glory, standing tall and shouting our praise.
Isn't it nice to know? Isn't